So far, with everyone that I've interacted today, you've been an incredibly passionate, inspired, young group of people. And so I'm not sure if this first question that I'm about to ask you, if you're the right crowd for that, but let me try this anyways. Have you ever been a student like this? So let me ask you the second question. You don't need to answer, it's okay. Have you ever had to work on a group project with a student like this? No, I did many times. In fact, I usually was the kid who, in the end, put in the extra hours and just made sure he would get it right somehow. And at the time, I had this interesting way of justifying that to myself. I told myself, actually, I'm the lucky one. Because I just happened to be interested in the subjects that high school picked out for me. I took interest in the sciences and the languages. And so I figured by that reasoning that once everybody would be able, every group member would be able to pick what they wanted, for example, in university, when you get to pick your major, or at the very latest, when all of us were grown up and would enter the job world and get to choose our own careers. Latest at that point, everybody would have to be engaged at what they do. But I was wrong. You see, there he is again. Very persistent. In Switzerland, in the working world, 7 out of 10 employees are disengaged at work. 7 out of 10, according to the Global Workplace Study done by Gallup, and that's just a huge number. So 7 out of 10 is too much. 7 out of 10 is a widespread problem that affects us on a personal and individual level, it affects us on a team level, and it affects us as a society as a whole. And in this talk, I'd like to talk about all of those 3 dimensions and how disengagement has a negative implication on those. So, when it comes to the individual level, the real question I have for you is, whose dream job in here is characterized by boredom and disengagement? Nobody, right? Of course not. Because, you can ask any kid, you can ask a 7-year-old or an 8-year-old, and you can ask Billy, what do you want to be one day when you're grown up? And little Billy over here will tell you, I want to be a firefighter, I want to be a pilot, an astronaut, a doctor. There's no kid in this entire world, okay, who's ever going to answer, I just want to be bored out of my mind when I'm grown up. Right? Of course not. And so the thing is, you're spending over 100,000 hours at work. All of us are. And this assumes a few things. It assumes on one hand that you are working something like 42 hours a week, which is the average in Switzerland, or at least that's what we're supposed to be doing. Maybe some people are doing more or less. It assumes that you're working 48 weeks a year, and it assumes that the working age population is between 15 and 64, 65, so about 50 years of work. Now, these numbers might vary for some of you in here, I fully understand that, but still, plus minus ballpoint figure, 100,000 hours. On a team level, disengagement or engagement makes a huge difference. People who are engaged in a team tend to be more team-oriented. They're more creative, they're more innovative, they're faster learners, they're essentially, at the end of the day, more productive at what they do. And now if you look at another study done by Gallup, what you find is that bottom line, what this means for, if you compare business units with high engagement levels to business units with low engagement levels, those with the high engagement level tend to be 21% more productive. They tend to have 37% less sick leave, 48% fewer safety incidents, which of course will have an effect bottom line, in this particular study, 22% higher profitability. And obviously, these numbers will have implications for our society as a whole. I mean, imagine just any organization you've interacted with. It could be a public institution, it could be a private organization, anything. You could think of it like this. You can think of it as a rowing boat with 10 people sitting inside, and 3 are just pounding away. I mean, they're just rowing and pushing forward and putting in all the energy they possibly can. And then there's 7 others. And with those 7 others, here's the deal. You have 5 people who are kind of rowing forward once in a while, and sometimes maybe in the wrong direction. And sometimes not at all. But they're just doing enough so their boss doesn't throw them overboard. And then there are the 2 last ones out of these 7. Now those are the ones who are actively disengaged, which means they're actually disruptive to the rest of the team. Maybe they're sawing away a little piece of the boat, or one of them thinks it's a great idea to start a fire because they're cold, forgetting that this is a wooden boat and we're in the ocean. So this has got a lot of implications. But you see, when I walked up on here, I could have walked up on here, and the reason you thought I was going to talk only about disengagement is because I showed you a picture of this person and I labeled it bored student. But I could have just as well walked up on here and I could have labeled this very same picture with depressed student, or with drug addicted student, or with stressed student, because all of these challenges affect our working world in a negative way. You see, it doesn't actually matter so much why this person looks the way he does. I mean, it does, but not for the purpose of this talk. Because the thing that actually matters is no matter what the reason that he looks the way he looks, it has a tremendous negative cost for us as a society and on our economy. And so, let me just put some numbers on this. Let's pick work-related stress. Now, the State Secretariat for Economic Affairs did a study a while ago, and it's titled, fittingly, The Cost of Stress, of work-related stress, that is. And so what they found is that work-related stress cost Switzerland 7.8 billion Swiss francs. 7.8 billion Swiss francs, which is equivalent to $9 billion every year. So to put this into proportion just a little bit, basically what's happening is this. Switzerland, on all its levels, state level, cantonal level, municipality level, is investing every year, at least in 2009 it was the case, about 34.4 billion Swiss francs into education, essentially into you students, into human potential. And at the same time, you're losing out on almost 8 billion Swiss francs, or $9 billion. So you can think of it something like this, right? It's a bathtub. We're pouring in $40 billion. Meanwhile, about 9 of those are flowing out due to a giant leak. So, what is it that we, as individuals, can do about all of this? Because these macroeconomic realities, they look pretty big, don't they? What we do have as individuals is our own professional life. This is what we can influence, and we can influence it every single day. No teacher will ever give you a hard deadline or a grade on this. But let's make it a point to live a professional life where we are engaged in what we do. Let's make it a point to wake up every weekday with a smile on our face. Let's make it a point to say as often, "Thank God it's Monday," as we say, "Thank God it's Friday," right on. So, you see, please don't underestimate the importance of this question. What makes you come alive? This is not just a this question is not just about finding your passions and following your purpose. This is the $9 billion question in Switzerland alone. So try to answer this question and start today. And I know that for some, it's easier to find an answer than for others. But don't give up. Keep on trying. No matter where you are in your career, trying can mean so many things. Trying can mean simple thing as shadowing someone at his job. Trying can mean just do an internship in something that interests you. Trying can mean starting your own business. It can mean any one of those things and more. The important thing is that we keep on trying. We keep on asking, what makes you come alive? And if this question can be answered by all of us, then we together win $9 billion. How does that sound? We win it for ourselves and we win it for all the future generations to come. And if we do that here in Switzerland, imagine just what happens if we would be able to answer this question beyond Switzerland, if we were able to answer this question throughout the world. I mean, we're talking trillions, okay? Trillions which we could put towards any one of the challenges that have been outlined today, from sustainable development towards poverty alleviation, towards any one of those. And all it takes is a simple question. So let me ask you one more time. What makes you come alive? Thank you.